Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 21 to the end. Etam bhukva svargalokam vishalam क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्नाः गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्या चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ताः यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्तेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितुव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्याः यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयम् यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवम् मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यक् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्तं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य पापयोनयः प्रियो वैश्याः तथा शूद्राः ते यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्याः भक्ता राजश्रयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् मन्मनामवभक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामैवैष्यसि युक्तैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः
सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति। The earlier portion Krishna gave the comparison and the contrasted between the Sakama Bhaktas and Nishkama Bhaktas. What is their nature, how they worship, what they worship, and what is the result. So all this he has completed. Now he is coming to a psychological motivation for a person who needs it, because Arjuna is still in that need for motivation, has to be motivated for him to take to this path. So there we find Krishna starting this idea from verse 30 onwards, is giving this: wherever you are, whoever you might be, you still have this option, which is very unique to this particular path, he says. If you have to take to the path of knowledge, it requires qualification. A person needs to have certain amount of growth in them to take to that path. Whereas he says for you to take to the path of devotion, no pre-qualification needed. Wherever you are, whoever you are, you can take to the path. So here he starts, which he has already stated earlier in the seventh chapter, where he gave 4 types of devotees: Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. So whoever you are, you can take it up. Even if you are in fear, or you are in pain, you are in agitation, you are disturbed, you are suffering a great sorrow, you can take to bhakti. Even if you are so greedy and so desirous of acquiring from the world, you can take to bhakti. Even if you are so inquisitive, you can take to bhakti. And finally, he says, even if you are a person who is genuinely wanting to know, you can take to bhakti. So in any position you are capable, you are allowed to start here. So to contrast this path, he says one uniqueness with reference to this path is you can start here. That doesn't mean you are going to have you will be able to be a perfect seeker. That is not what is referred here. You can start here. Whereas if you have to take to the path of knowledge, the starting itself, we give qualifications. Sadhana sacha atushtaya, they say. Viveka is needed, vairagya is needed, 6-fold qualifications needed, mumukshatvam needed. All these qualifications are needed. And you should have already reached X amount of emotional maturity, mental purification. All these are all needed there. Now, without those things, you will not be able to start there. Path of knowledge. Whereas he says the path of bhakti doesn't require all those things. Even if a very wicked person, vichet sudhurachara says, even if you are a very wicked person, bhajate mam ananya bhav, says, the one worships me with unswerving devotion. Of course, we have seen all this earlier in the last class. Says he would be treated as sadhu only. Sadhureva samantavyaha. Says he would be treated as regarded as righteous, for he has resolved rightly. Since he has taken this path, he will be treated. By whom is the next question comes. He says, by I will treat him. Now, if you say, I don't care what Krishna calls me, I'm more interested what my neighbor calls me, you say, then this verse is not for you. Because for most of us, who is important? You know, that's why throughout the scriptures they say Bala, children. Because that is the behavior of a child. A child, kids' behavior is they would love to impress the classmate than teacher. They would be far more faithful to their friend in the class than to the teacher. This is the behavior of a child. I think, it's not right or wrong, that's how they behave. They can't stand. If a teacher says, I don't like you, I don't like the student, they don't care. So what? They will say and walk out. Whereas if the classmate or the friend were to say, they will get hurt a lot. Same way here. You want certificate from whom is the point. Krishna says, I will regard you. I will regard such a person as righteous. Now, here we see this durachara. We have seen this durachara don't take it in a very primitive, simple sense, direct one. This is a person who is performing all wicked actions, stealing, killing. All this is treated as wickedness. Sir, I have not murdered anyone. Therefore, I don't fall into this category of durachara. So we'll move to the next verse. Say no. Pause and find out what is this wickedness. Wickedness, what is referred to is the mind which is running towards the world is treated as wicked. Because sin, we have seen earlier, sin is not in action. Sin is in the reaction. Reaction in the sense what it produces to you mentally. If anything that disturbs you, agitates you, you have sinned. When your mind runs towards the world, that agitates the mind. Therefore, it is. That is how we derive. Say, yeah, who is a wicked person? So when we say who is a wicked person, we say it is the one who is running towards the world. Running towards the world for what? To acquire, enjoy. That's all. What else you are going to do? In the world, you are going to be running behind acquisition and enjoyment, which is what we call as desire. So anyone who is the mind which is desirous is full of desires. Then what happens? That mind will go to any extent to fulfill that desire. There you can stoop down to any sort of action. To fulfill my desire, I will go to any extent. See, that is why we say it is a wicked mind. Wickedness is mind full of desires. Why? Because the moment it gets attached to the object of desire, it will start. After that, you cannot have that mind which is of disciplined in nature. That mind will be by nature, it will be disciplined. What is discipline in discipline? What is discipline, sir? Discipline means when you say yes, yes, no, no. Hey, now I am moving my hand. I say move my hand. My hand has to move. I say stop moving. It should stop. without me asking the mind to move, if the hand starts to moving, without me, even after me telling the hand stop moving, it continues to move, then that hand is not in my control. Apply, replace the word hand to mind. Today, what is the condition of your mind? You say think in the direction, it should think in that direction. You say no, don't think in that direction, it should not think in that direction. Our condition is exactly opposite now. What is it? When I'm asking the mind to think this way, it says no, I will not think. And I'm telling the mind, don't think like this, it starts thinking like that. Such a mind is called a wicked mind. Agitated, disturbed mind. What is the meaning of a disturbed mind? Disturbed mind means the mind which is not going to listen to you. Meaning what? Indiscipline. There's no proper strength. If there is no discipline there, such an indisciplined mind, where to decide that I have to take to the direction of evolution, growth, realization, because it has taken the decision that it is not that it has become disciplined. It says it has taken the decision that I have to work in the direction of disciplining the mind. Today, my mind is indisciplined. Now, I would love to have my mind disciplined, controlled. That is possible only when you have a higher goal, without which it is not possible. You say, I don't have any idea of evolution, growth, and all those things, but I wanted to have control over mind. That is not possible. That will never work. If at all it appears to be working, what is working there? All that is working there is a bigger desire is controlling the weaker desire. Strong one is controlling the weak one. That's the only thing. Exactly like a boy who is controlling his desire to watch a cricket match when he has exam the next day. Previous day there's a cricket match. He is not watching the cricket match. He is sitting and reading, preparing for the exam. We say he has good control. Vedanta says no. Here what is happening here, it is only the desire to get good marks. That desire is controlling the desire for this. Of course, between the two desires, which is socially acceptable desire, for all of us, which is agreeable, for the parents, what is agreeable? What is agreeable is studying. So when this boy sits and studies, all of us will say he has good control. That is not control piece. And when control is possible, control itself is possible only when you have that resolve. Only when you have taken that decision. Now that doesn't mean today I decided, therefore tomorrow morning I will be able to attain this. That is not what is referred here. It says you take the decision. The moment you have taken the decision, Krishna says, according to me, you are a righteous person. Because you have decided to exercise that control. Because you have decided to discipline the mind. That decision, I will treat you as righteous, he says. So here, be careful with these things. You say, what is wickedness? Then, who is going to be calling you as righteous? And then on what basis? What is the basis for a person to call, for Krishna to call? So who is a wicked person? Wicked person is the one who is essentially believing in the world and what? Wickedness means what, sir? Wickedness means he is believing in the world. Also, he is believing in God. That's called a wicked mind. Very cunning. Cunning mind. Now all of us can understand. Correct, sir? All of us will fit into this category. Sakama bhakti, nishkama bhakti, this bhakti, that bhakti, artha, arthi, all that is not fitting. This is a perfect fit for us. Why? Throughout the week, we believe in world. Weekend, we believe in God. For all that I have to get here, for all my material things, I go to world. For all my emotional things, I go to world. All my intellectual things, I go to world. Spiritual, I come to God. So we have a clear demarcation. For this, I go here. For that, I go here. So whenever I need this, I come here. Whenever I need that, I go there. Very convenient. And that looks very logical also, isn't it? And then we say, how can you go to God and ask him for material? That's not good, you see. You can't go to God and ask him for material. And I say, from next time onwards, what you should do, don't go to your customer and ask him to buy. Have a meeting with the customer, go and see the customer, say hi, come back. Like a lot of people tell me this. I go to temple, I see God and come back, sir. That's I don't ask anything. Quietly I stand. Next time when you go to a bank, just go and stand there. Don't ask anything. Banker himself will give you what how much loan you need. He himself will give. He is not going to do anything. And it looks very very interesting for us to see. What I'm going to do. What is wickedness? Really, wickedness means it's not just running behind the world. So first one we say, what is wickedness? Wickedness means doing all wrong actions. There are and then we have a list. Every culture has a list of what all you are supposed to do, and of course there are some common things also there. There we have two types. Common ones, generally what all is not supposed to be done, and then particularly certain things were given to a particular group of people, they are not supposed to do it. You see, for like that we have two types of things, wrong actions. So those who are doing those actions will be treated as durachara. This is the first one. Then we say, no, is this the things that we say, no, it is more than that. What is next one? Next one we say, correct, it is little more than this. What is little more than that? Wickedness means agitation. Agitation comes from where? Comes from desirous pursuit. So what is a wicked mind? Wicked mind is the mind which is infested with desires. Correct. This is second. Then we say, no, it's not even this, sir. It is still one more way. One more thing we say is, no, it is running behind the world for certain things and running behind God for certain things. So whenever I have a problem, I will try these solutions. If nothing works, I go to God finally. And the person thinks that is a ultimate surrender they have done. He says, this is the cunningness of the mind. Such a cunning mind is what is referred as Sudurachara. That's why he puts that beautifully constructs it. says he adds this su. He prefixes with it. Su is usually referred only to good things. Actually, it is Sudurachar, very wicked, very cunning. Even if you possess such a cunning mind, he says, if you have taken the decision, just your decision, no matter where you are, then we can justify that explaining various ways. At any point of time, you can take to the goal of realization. From anywhere you can go to goal of realization. There is no necessity of hierarchy here. It is like from the circumference, the center is equidistant to everyone. Isn't it? It is not that 1 million is closer to infinity than 10. Who is closer to infinity, if you ask? You say, no, both are equidistanced. Since with this it is possible, then we go to second one. We say, yes, the moment you have this goal of realization, then there would be a possibility for you to exercise control over your mind. This goal will give. So he says, if the intent of your actions were to be towards evolution, no matter what you do, according to Krishna, it is. You are not a wicked person anymore. That doesn't mean the world will start calling you. World will not call you still sadhu. Right? World will still be treating you for your actions only. Remember this. The day you have decided, this is what happens to most of us when you start attending this, these classes or anywhere you go and put any sort of effort, you would have made some changes, certain corrections would have happened internally in you. And that is a reality for you. But for the world outside you, for the people in your house and people who have been in transacting with you, for them, the reality is not those things. Your internal decisions is not a thing. They have to actually see a transformation happening in you, and there is a time period. See, so he comes to the next verse, verse 31. So first he says, you have taken a decision, your mind is still running behind the world, and factually speaking, this entire education has to be given to only that mind. If your mind is already running towards God, why do you need Krishna? Why do you need Bhagavad Gita? See, it's not it's not needed then. The whole guidance is needed only for that mind. For a person who is running between God and world, he is bombarded between the two. See, so such a mind alone needs it. There he says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Yes. Verse 31. Sashvat shantim nigacchati. Kaunteya pratijanihi. Name bhakta pranashyati. Soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace. O Kaunteya, know for certain that my devotee never perishes. Continuing the sequence from 30, 30, he said one. Now he is continuing. He says, soon he becomes righteous. Now, just now he said, you will be called as righteous. You will be called as righteous only, but you have not become righteous. And over a period of time, you will become righteous. That's why he says, Kshipram. And many times he uses this word Kshipram in the Gita. Soon. Soon now, how soon? Nobody knows. We can't go and ask him. Soon means what? Soon means 6 months or 1 year, 10 years, 25 years. What is the meaning of Shipram? We don't know, but he says soon, which means future. In future, you will get it. It takes time. That's what implication is. It says, soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace. Now, why he is suddenly giving all this is, I told you already, Arjuna needs that reassurance. Now, all of us will be requiring an assurance. Look here, man, you calling me a great, it's not what I wanted. What I want is two things. More than Krishna calling you righteous, right now our problem is two. Number one, my neighbor should call me righteous, and I should be able to call myself righteous. Right? You may think, Krishna may say, yeah, you are a very good person, I know. Immediately all of us will say what? Krishna, anybody comes in front of you, you are going to say the same thing. So, does it make? That is not a final rule. That's not the authority, man. Anybody says, because anybody comes, he is going to say what? Okay, you just treat as, if you go in front of a Mahatma, what is he going to say? You are a sinner, you are a criminal, this, you are that. No, he's going to say what? Such a good person you are. What happened? This is how he will speak. Right? Mahatmas will speak in that language only. So for a Mahatma, anybody they interact, they are all divine people only. Why? Because he sees divinity everywhere, therefore he is going to call everyone. But our problem is not that. Our problem is, Krishna, will I be able to? Right? Because the one who is wicked, the one who has recognized that he is wicked, psychologically, what happens to him? They see the contrast. What amount of sacrifice and effort, slogging, what amount of love and affection, concern, kindness, ahimsa, whatever you call, all that is practiced by those people in the spiritual path. They see that. Right? When you see a Mahatma, you understand that. You see a picture of all that. Now, you immediately look at yourself. You say, what? Yes, sir. So, invariably, that disparity will trigger a sense of inferiority complex. A sheer disparity. And because of that, they will definitely question within themselves, am I really fit for the spiritual enlightenment? Am I really qualified? Is it ever possible for a person like me to achieve it? See, this superficially, when you look at it, it look like a very genuine one. But factually, what is it? It is just a simple complex. It is a simple inferiority feeling. Is it ever possible for a person like me to achieve something? This Janma, no chance. And most of us will say this because of this statement. What happens to your effort? This Janma, it's not going to happen. This Janma, all that I can do is what? At best, I can do is, without fail, I attend all your classes. If I do that, extraordinary effort. This itself looks, see, even that such an innocuous effort will appear to our eyes as though it is a huge thing. That is the meaning of inferiority complex. So don't think it is some genuine, very sincere, humble humility and all that. It's not humility, please. See, it is complex. When a person suffers with such a complex, and Krishna says, don't worry, man, I will take you. In my eyes, you are not a wicked person. You are a dharmatma. We will say what? Sorry, Krishna. Because even if you see Kamsa, you will say dharmatma only. Shishubala, you see, you will say dharmatma only. Duryodhana, you see, you say dharmatma only. I can't believe you. You are not trustworthy. Okay. Therefore, Krishna says, don't worry, man. Continue your effort. Continue to keep reinforcing this idea and working on this effort, putting that necessary effort. Over a period of time, what happens, sir? Soon you become Dharmatma. According to, soon he becomes righteous. Means what? Who is going to call you righteous now? First, Krishna will call you righteous. Then you have to feel righteous. Then the world will recognize you as righteous. So first he says, you take that resolve. I say pass mark. You continue your effort. What will happen? You will start feeling that you will overcome this complex internally. And then according to your standard of righteousness, you will be able to live. Now today our problem is we are not able to live the righteousness according to the standard that we set. Isn't it? I'm not able to live to that standard. Say soon you become Dharmatma. Means soon, according to your standards, you will become righteous. Then world will be able to appreciate and recognize. Simple thing. New Year resolution. I'm going to become fit 2022. Right? You start work, you start your fitness, program. Regime you start. What happens? First few days. What is the reaction of people around you? Suddenly put on your shoes and go for a jog. What happens to people around you? Surprise. First reaction of people around you will be surprise. And then what happens? 3 days you go, 4 days you go, for whatever reason, 5th day you don't go. reaction of people will be what? Mockery. And we know about you. 4 days. That's all. After that, what is going to happen? They will mock at you. There's no, they'll just state it. They may mean it or they may be joking it, whatever the reason. They will not be able to understand. Then comes the consistent effort of yours. You'll falter, you make mistakes, you miss few days here, days there. It becomes 5 days a week. Sometimes it becomes 4 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week. And then again, you start coming back to 5 days a week. After about 3-4 months, the way you walk becomes different. The way you stand becomes different. You start feeling internally. Internally, you start feeling this. After 6 months or 8 months, people around you will say what? Right? You lost weight. They will not say you have become fit. You see that? That's not possible for people to say. What they can recognize is you have lost weight, isn't it? How many of you have heard someone telling you have become fit now? No. See, they will say what they will see is in their picture you are overweight. Now, earlier it was fat, now it has become muscle. Sometimes they may even say, what happened to you? See, because the area needed for fat is different, area needed for muscle is different. 1 kg of fat is different from 1 kg of muscle mass, isn't it? So you have lost fat, you have gained muscle, let's say. Some of them may look at you and say, what happened to you? You're looking like, you have not had food for the last 1 week. You see, it takes time for the external. Now, this I'm talking only at the physical level, right? Then comes the emotional level, then comes the intellectual level, and then comes the spiritual level. For a person to recognize that. So we say, when you are making assessment, remember always, there are 3 layers. Outermost layer is called is what. Inner layer is how. Further inner layer is why. Right? There are 3 layers. What, how, why. What you do and how you do it and why you do it. Okay. In this, what you do is pretty visible to everyone. That's very simple. That's what we give as visiting card. What are you doing? Doing business. I'm a professional. I'm this and that. You give a visiting card. That's enough. But how good a doctor are you? How good an engineer are you? How good a driver are you? How will you know? Who will know that? How good? How good a surgeon are you? Who will know? When it will be known? Who can recognize that? Is only those who are much more closer to you and observe you and live with you for a long period of time. how good a neighbor are you cannot be told in the first 1 week. You just shift to a house, you go there, you stay, and you have a neighbor there. How's the neighbor? Yeah, very good neighbor. Now you can't decide that neighbor, how good are they based on that 1 week. If you have been living there for the last 15 years, you are living, sir. 15 years you have seen. Then you give a certificate, is a good neighbor. That is an authentic one. But for you to answer that question, how good you do an action, you have to come much more closer to you. How much ever a person can come closer to you, it is almost impossible for them to come to an answer why you do what you do. Isn't it? Why are you doing it? This is where all of us will have this domain. You know, that why domain is exclusive. And who can penetrate and come in and see you why you do an action? It's almost impossible. What you do is very much visible to everyone. You don't require any penetrative, power at all. But how you do that action, how good you are in that action, you need a penetrative eye. Right? If you have to come to the domain of why you do, you need far more penetration. See, who can know why you do? Only you will know. Or someone who has a far better penetration. Verse 30 is referring to the one who has a better penetration. Since you have taken a decision, in 30 he said, righteous. 31 he says, according to you, you will become righteous. Sir, when the world will call me righteous, world will never call you righteous based on why you do. World is going to call you righteous, you are very good and all those things. You will be getting certificates only based on what? You are a very good person. To whom? To anyone who has a utility. If you are a useful person to me, then I will call you good. If you are not of any use to me, use can be of any way. Okay, I'm not saying use in the sense of only in terms of material, right? Anything. Some utility should be there. If my actions were to be of value adding something to you, you are going to call me good. Correct. Ishwar, great, super, all that. Suppose if I say something, if I do something which results in a loss to you, let's say, then what happens? Same Ishwaran will become a bad person. So world is going to see based on not just your actions, please. World is going to see your actions with reference to their thing. So in Vedanta, we never consider that part. So here, what is the consideration, sir? Consideration is to your eyes, what are you? Number one. Number two, in front of someone who has better than you, the one who is superior to you, how they look at you. Right. Now, Krishna said in 30, he said, you decide to evolve, pass, according to me. But then, in your eyes, you will still be what? Sir, I'm such an inadequate person. So much of faults in me, so much of flaws in me. Because when you look within, first thing you recognize in life is what? First thing you are going to see is, because all this while your focus is on external. Now you say that I am going to grow. You have taken a U-turn and you are looking within. When you are looking within, what is the first thing you will see in you? Is all the faults, all the wrongs, all your problems will be surfacing, will become visible to you. More and more of such problems comes. More and more of inadequacies you see in you. Am I really qualified for this spiritual? That doubt will come. He says that doubt also will disappear over a period of time. That will also go away. And soon you will be able to live. And what is interesting is, if you take to that resolve only, this will happen soon. Remember that. Otherwise, earlier he has already said, Aneka Janma. Right? You would be able to have mastery over your mind, discipline your mind, control your mind, only if you have this goal of evolution. Without this goal of evolution, if you are going to attempt purification, that's impossible. That will never work. It will never work in the sense, it will work so long it will take. It will appear as though it is not working. So he says, this Kshipram means the moment you take to this path is enough. You get on to the path of bhakti. In this context, in general thing we say, you take to the path of spiritual. The moment you take to that path, the purification happens very fast. What is the purification? Purification means no agitations. That's the meaning of it. Purified mind means there is no agitations. Then we go back to this basic idea. What is the source of agitation? The source of agitation is presence of unfulfilled desires. That is why we should try to fulfill the desires. He said, no. More you attempt to try to fulfill that desire, the desire becomes more unfulfilled. So desires can never be. So what you have to do, you go in the other direction. And he says, don't remain, soon he becomes righteous. And not only that, he attains, he continues. He says, he becomes righteous. And then what happens? He attains to that Shanti. What type of Shanti he gets? Peace. He says, Shashvat Shanti. This eternal peace he attains. So he gives the steps very clear here. 30-31. This person who is pursuing Durachara, Sudurachara, becomes Dharmatma. That Dharmatma attains eternal peace. How? Through this path of surrender, bhakti, devotion, he becomes Dharmatma. That Dharmatma would be able to understand, gain that jnanam. With that knowledge, he will attain eternal peace. Now we have to add that one in between. He gives 3. Between the second and third, there is a gap. The gap is that jnanam. you take to this bhakti, soon you will become Dharmatma. After you have become Dharmatma, what? After purification, you go back to the previous, go back to knowledge. With the purified mind, when you go to knowledge, you would be able to attain that eternal peace. We also have peace. The peace that we experience is not an eternal peace. See, there's a period of peace we also have in life, but that is a temporary one, passing. Right? He's referring to, he qualifies that by saying it is eternal peace that I attain. So the steps are clear. Then he says, second line, he says, Kaunteya Pratijanihi. Oh, Kaunteya. Kaunteya is another name for Arjuna, Kunti's son. Kaunteya. Know for certain that, what you have to know, that Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee never perishes. This is the assurance. He explains first, then he gives the assurance. Don't worry, man. He will never perish. He will never lose. He will never get destroyed. Yes. Why he has to give all this? There are different ways of teaching. Remember, at times, we use very many styles. Krishna does that in many places. Sometimes we need to say personal assurance has to be given. Only then it will work. To some people, you have to refer some big names. You see, Vedanta is very useful, very powerful knowledge this is. Correct. What is it, sir? Look at me. I am the proof. Positive sensor. Okay. The positive sense. See, from where to where the growth it has taken, it has transformed person. So powerful this knowledge is. This is one. To some people it will work. To another group of people, you can't say, look at me, they'll say, poor. After looking at you only, I am not doing this. Instead of that, we say what? Who all attend the lectures? Bill Gates, Rajinikanth. Some names like that, we have to drop. So the moment we give, some names like that, they say, my God, oh, they are all your students, is it? I'm just saying, example only. Okay. Oh, they all attend your class. Then you will ask what? I would like to attend that class. Which class they come to? Say, they don't come to the Gita class, they come to the other class. They say, sir, can I have the meeting ID and passcode for that? There's another group of people. You see. Then you have another group of people who say, no, sir. This is what Shankara says. This is what the Veda says. This is what Ramanuja says. They say, if I give this quotations, if I give, this tradition, people take it as a great value. This culture has survived. The easiest one we have is about 17,000 years. 17,000 years, the tradition has survived. We are going to question that. We're going to challenge that. With the things we are talking about, it's a child, 2000-year-old. It's like, 2-year-old, 17-year-old. Imagine the house, you have 2 kids. One is 17, another one is 2. The 17 will look at 2 as what? And the 2 will always have a competition, no? Isn't it? The younger one will say what? Oh, only he is allowed, is it? I am not allowed. They can decide whatever. Whenever they want to go out, they can go out. I cannot go out. The 17-year will go out. He will say, I'm going out, we'll go. Now, the 2-year-old will say what? If they can go out, I will also go out. Mother says, no, not allowed. So immediately fight comes. 17-year-old, this is the tradition which is valued 17,000 years minimum. I'm talking about from Mahabharata period. Ramayana, it goes even backwards. The dates. Do some calculations they have that, they arrived at. Some calculations say 17,000. Tilakalan says that, 17,000 years. This is continued from 17,000 years. Very old. Old in the sense traditional one. Traditionally, there is a tremendous value. Because anything old, we always have some value for that. Why? Of course, there is a reason for it. It's not a blind one. Right? Understood is what? If it has withstood so much of time means it is some value in that. Otherwise, nature wouldn't have allowed to be preserved. It would have been washed away completely. Time would have washed the whole thing. If it has survived that time, means nature is supporting it. Otherwise, it is not possible. So there is it is. So another group of people will get impressed. See, each one will get impressed with their own things. So few other people will get impressed. Not all those things. All logic, sir. Another group. What a reasoning. Step by step, reasoning goes. Analysis. Therefore. Throughout the Gita, he says, Tasmat, he says, therefore. There's a sequence of reasoning and then conclusion. Reasoning, conclusions. So this will be appealing to one group of people. There's no superiority, inferiority here. Again, you don't say, those who are having, traditional is all, all useless people, and those who say logic are, important. There's no such thing, please. See, you get impressed with, the moment I use some sort of a logic. And using the same logic, you can prove the contrary also. See, same thing. Did Jatayu help Rama or became a problem for Rama? Guru said, sir, of all the people who assisted Rama, Jatayu is the most superior one. You know why? Sugriva did not give his life. You see, he didn't die, no. Same way, Vibhishna also did not die. And Sugriva and Vibhishna were helping Rama in the presence of Rama. Jatayu is the one who has been helping Rama in his absence. Therefore, he is the best. Logic. Another fellow came and said, Jatayu is a problem actually. You know why? What is the purpose of Rama avatar? Avatar itself is to kill Ravana. Now, to kill Ravana, he needs some excuse, no? Suddenly, he can't, as soon as he has taken birth, straight you go and kill Ravana and come back. No, it needs some excuse is needed. What's the excuse? You need some reason, no? The reason is what? He is abducting Sita. What is Jata doing now? Jata is going and stopping Ravana from abducting Sita. Imagine Jatayu has won that battle. Jatayu win the battle and Jatayu brings Sita and gives it to Rama, gives Sita to Rama and says, see, proudly, I have, chased Ravana away. I have saved Sita. Take care. Now, what Rama will be looking at him now as? You idiot. This is why I ran so far. This is why I managed to do all those things. Now whole thing is gone. Now, because the time is getting over, for that 14 years, you have to finish it and then go back. Before that, he has to finish all that. He says already the time is getting over. You are not supposed to. You see. So Jatayu's effort to stop Ravana, is it for helping Rama or actually disrupting the whole thing? Yes. Then another fellow came. He says, yes, sir. Third fellow. Right. Third fellow comes and says, actually, Jatayu knows this. And Jatayu knows the nature of Rama and the nature of Sita. Right. Ravana will do all blunders. After doing all that, by chance, so just a remote possibility, 1% possibility. What is that? Suddenly Ravana comes and falls at the feet of Rama. What will happen? Return Sita. Now the only option Rama has is what? This fellow is a Saranagada Vatsala he is. So whoever falls at his feet, immediately he will say, he'll pardon and he will give protection. After Rama gives protection, finished. No, nothing can be done. You see. So, according to Jatayu, abducting Sita is not enough reason for Rama to kill Ravana. So what is needed now? Rama needs far more valid reason. Unpardonable blunder Ravana should have committed. What is that? Killing Rama's devotee. See, killing Rama's devotee is the final one. That is why he deliberately went and fought with him and he gave his life. Dead. Now how you look at Jatayu? Certainly Jatayu looks, the logic. See, using logic, you can keep, turning it this way, turning it that way. It depends on who is wielding it. You see, how good you are able to wield that logic, it will. But for few people, it will be appealing. See, for few, that will be appealing. For few, tradition will be appealing. For few, it is the names. Like he says, earlier, Janaka, Ikshwaku and all that. Now, of course, for you and me, Janaka, Ikshwaku, Manu and all that has no meaning. For us, what will be the meaning? For us, it will be like, Bill Gates is there and Rajinikanth is there, and we'll be getting impressed. So we have our own names, he has his own names. But names are important to few. For few, sir, don't tell me what he says, what he says, what he says, what Shankara says, what Madhva says. What are you saying? Don't tell me all that. What are you saying? Tell me that. No, can you give a personal guarantee? Like this Preeti Mixi. Personal guarantee I give. The fellow has never used it. But I have to give you personal guarantee for that. Yes, I give that guarantee. What is a guarantee? It says, my devotee never perishes. Nothing happened to become. No perish. Patience is not that, all that, once you gain, you will never lose it. That's the meaning. Perishing means that all that you gain, in the world, you will lose it. There is one thing that you gain here, meaning once you have started working with reference to the reduction of desires, no chance of desires getting increased in future. That will not happen. That's what it means. Will not perish. Means whatever you have attained, there's a chance of losing it, isn't it? I put in so much of effort. I did a big business, work. I bring it to a particular level. After that, what happens? It will fall. One company was ruling country. Can you believe? Just about 100 years back. 100 years back, one company was ruling a country called East India Company. Can you believe? Where is that company now? Listed? Is it listed anywhere? Right. It will disappear. It will not survive. It will perish. You can gain, you can amass things. Similarly, you can gain things also. Knowledge also you can gain. Right. Suddenly you will get Alzheimer's and forget. What happens to that? Perish. Not to talk about name, fame, power, position, all that. Now finally we think, sir, once you gain knowledge, that will be there with you. No. Who says? That will also all your intelligence. I say knowledge, what I mean is all that information, your intelligence, all that you have, you will forget. See, that is over a period of time, you will lose all that. Same way, if the effort that I put in to get rid of those desires, which is causing the vegetation, which is making me a wicked person, I work so hard, I reduce it. After a period of time, what will happen, sir? It will come back to its original position, means what? Or it will keep increasing after a point. To which he gives this guarantee. What is a guarantee? Once you have attained, that's what he means. He says, my devotee never perishes. Now, this that emotional people, the devotional type of people will interpret it in one way. They will say, once I call myself as Krishna devotee, I will not perish. Suppose if I call myself Shiva devotee, finished. Only Krishna's devotee will not perish. Rama devotee will perish. Suppose if I say, I am a devotee of this god, that god, other god devotee, no chance. Only my devotee will not perish. Does it mean all other devotees will perish? That's where the problem will come, and devotional mind will never bother about it. It will say, my God will protect me. That's enough for him. So that is one way. Now we are not looking it from there. We are looking at it from the other side. As a devotion here, we are taking as an effort that you had put in. My devotee means a person who had, the seeker, who has worked. So to the extent that you have worked to reduce your desires, what is the guarantee, sir? It will not increase again. Otherwise, you keep reducing, it will come again. Keep reducing, it will come again. Keep reducing, it will come again. You can't go on like that. Here he says, soon you become righteous. How? With your own effort. The decision that you have taken and the effort that you are putting in, because you have decided. Now, you can't say, decision I have taken, automatically it will happen. It's like saying, I have decided to become rich. No, decision to become rich is the first step. Right? After that, you have to work for it. Same way, you have decided to evolve, you have decided to mastery, gain that mastery over the mind. That decision followed by your effort. Those efforts and all that he has stated earlier. So we don't have to repeat it again. The effort is given already, what you have to do for that. So whatever you believe, do that. By doing this, what happens? You gain that peace. What type of peace you gain? You get eternal peace. Through that, you get, he says, O Kaunteya, Pratijanihi. This Pratijanihi means two things. One is, you know for certain. You know that for certain. One. Another one is, you do boldly proclaim. Boldly speak out. Boldly say to the whole world, what? My devotee never perishes. So what you have to do? Stop listening to my lecture. Go and tell all these people. All those fellows standing there, no? Kauravas. Go and tell those Kauravas. Boldly tell them, the one who is devotee of Krishna will not perish. And I am Krishna's devotee. I will not perish. If I am not going to perish, you will perish. So victory in the battle is guaranteed for Arjuna. See, where is guaranteed here? This is for Arjuna. Now what is for us now? What is for us here? You know for certain, one. Understood is, if you know that for certain, what will be the manifestation of that? You must have the courage to speak about it boldly. Is the proof that you have known that certainly. You know that certain, you know with certainty means when you know something to as certain, sure, this is the only way, man. There is no other way you can manage your mind. This is the only method. If you know that for certain, you must have the courage to speak to the world. What? If you want to revive, if you want to do anything, if you want to make a meaning, if you want to lead a meaningful life, what do you have to do? Vedanta is the only way. There is no other way. Do you have the courage to proclaim that? See, that is what he says. My devotee never perishes. Now change it. The one who is studying Vedanta never perishes. Which means what? If you are not studying Vedanta, now what do you have to proclaim? Those who are attending Ishwaran's class will not perish. Understood this? Those who are not attending, doomed for destruction. You are asking for trouble. That's what it means here. It says, the certainty with which if you know something, that becomes your conviction. Once you are convinced about it, what you will do with reference to how you will deal with others. Like, you are so convinced of the necessity to get educated, isn't it? You are so convinced about it. That is why you force your child to go to school, college. Otherwise, why do you force them? Why do you put them in school? Same way, are you really convinced truth alone wins? Satyameva jayate. Do you have the conviction? You have to proclaim. The proclamation has to come from what? From your action, not through words, please. You have to proclaim. How do you proclaim? Through your action, through your life living, you should be able to proclaim that. From where that comes? That comes from the understanding. Understanding of what? Certainty. That certainty will lead to that conviction will lead to a lifestyle. If it is not demonstrated in the lifestyle, that means conviction is lacking. That means you are not certain about it. You are not certain about it means what? Where are you now? Verse 30. Durachara. That's what I meant by saying you are not certain that money is all you need, sir, in life. Are you certain about it? Are you convinced about it? No. All that it means only, people are important, sir, nothing else. Relationships are important. Are you convinced about it? If you're convinced about it, you will be able to forego, sacrifice all other things for that. If you are really convinced, are you really convinced God alone is enough? God will take care. If you are truly convinced, you will not be having any doubt on that action. Your lifestyle will be very different. The way you live will be very different. You are convinced. And then what you will do to others also. Like you are convinced that literacy is required. Simple. So the moment a child comes, you say what? Which school? Which college? Which course? Or the same course, but that college is better than this college, sir. Therefore, what you go to that college to study the same thing. Same engineering only. But that college is different. Sir, but I am finance only, but I am finance in, I am A is better. So what you do? Go there. Why? Because you are convinced. That will be of a great value addition to you and your life. You're convinced about it. Same way, do you have that conviction? Krishna says, no for certain, man. There's no second thought in this. There's no doubt about it. Absolute certainty. What? My devotee never perishes. The tremendous assurance. That assurance is needed. You don't say that this is not needed. All that you have to do is what? You just have to become my devotee. That's it. You just have to become my devotee. After that, now don't ask me because he has already explained this. Yoga kshemam vahamyam. Okay. He has already stated that. I'm going to give you that. You don't worry about it. So that is what he is referring here as my devotee never perishes. Means yoga kshemam vahamyam. He says. Soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace, O Kaunteya. Know for certain that my devotee never perishes. In the next class.